Hi, my name is Jesse, and this is going to be a day in the life of a fourth-year mechanical engineering Ph.D. student at Vanderbilt University. I am heading into a lab meeting right now. We are in Olin Hall over here. We have this beautiful, nice, new, fancy-looking engineering building. That is not Olin. We are over here. Big old cement building. This is where we're headed. I'm a part of the Medical Engineering and Discovery Lab. It's about 8:45 in the morning right now. We have lab meeting in about 30-ish minutes. Our main lab space up on the 5th floor of Olin. This is our space just for us. It is a active research setting. You can see this from a little bit of a mess that's going on here. We have a few different projects going on, lots of different tools and equipment, a lot of hardware area for us to prototype on. We have some laser welders, desktop CNC, 3D printers, magnetic field trackers, a couple different robots going on here. Boom, boom. We have our little workspaces, our little desks. It is about 9:15. We have lab meeting in 15 minutes, so we're kind of waiting on people to get here. Let's talk to one of our first. This is one of our first years, Sarah. What is your research on?
My research is on minimally invasive robotic surgery in the uterus to treat uterine fibroids.
And why did you want to get involved in research?
I really appreciate the creativity and independence of research that I didn't think I could find in your typical industry job.
So we're about to get started with lab meeting. I'm gonna put you right here. And let's go. So that's our lab meeting done. We're gonna go and get started on a couple other meetings I have. Right now we're walking over to the hospital actually, where we have another location that we usually work on called Vise, the Vanderbilt Institute for Surgery and Engineering. So we have some projects that live over in that space, some projects that live over in this space. It's gonna be on the hospital, so this other space is actually a lot easier for surgeons to come over and get involved in. I'll show you around a little bit. Here is Ethan.
I'm a second-year PhD student in the med lab. My research is on a pediatric system for minimally invasive pediatric surgery. I'm interested in medical robotics because I saw a video in middle school of a surgical robot doing surgery on a grape, and I thought that was really cool.
So this is how close we are. In about a 5-minute walk, we go from our building over at Olin, and now we're on the hospital campus. We're getting into the Vanderbilt Institute for Surgery and Engineering. We have a mock operating room here in this space. We actually have a couple people working here. You guys care to introduce yourselves real quick?
I'm Peter, I'm from MedLab.
I'm Carter Hatch, I'm from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville.
Hey, I'm from Tennessee, Knoxville too.
I'm Tony, I'm from UNC Chapel Hill.
So we got some visiting students. They're all working on the same project together. What is that project, Peter?
It's a robot to do colon surgery.
So it's working on this kind of style of long tube.
Wiggles around.
And they have their whole setup here with a robot and everything, endoscopic equipment, the whole shebang, all in this little mock operating room. Here's the rest of the Vise space where we have a lot of different projects going around. But first, I'm already late for my meeting, so we need to get started on that, where we're gonna talk about our research plan. All right, this is Sheila. Sheila actually is not a PhD student. Sheila is a postdoc. What was your PhD on? Where'd you just come from?
Well, I did my PhD at the University of Texas at Austin. My PhD was on drilling into someone's spine using a concentric tube robot, basically so a surgeon can do this into your spine to do better fixations for people.
What parts of research you like? What got you started in that?
I really like building things with my hands. I always wanted a project that I could play around, put stuff together, and actually see when it breaks. I went through a brief physics phase. Can't do physics research. If something breaks, I need to be able to see it.
But we have to actually get started on our little lit review, trying to figure out our plan for our next project, and so we will get back to you in a little bit. So next we have to go help Ethan out with make some figures for his papers, and then I'm gonna get lunch. So let's do that so I can eat. So here we are in the main kind of area. This is my space, so my robot's right here. I usually work over here. I have the tools underneath. Here's another robot area for one of the other students. Ethan's back there, work on his paper that he's submitting. So Ethan, what do we need?
Oh boy, we need 20 more minutes so I can finish this and then finish the arm.
I'll let Ethan work then and continue on with a tour. Right behind our lab area, we have another lab, and they are Maple Lab. They work primarily on computer science and stuff. One of the students from Maple Lab is here, so we'll actually talk to them instead of letting me ramble on about stuff that I don't really know about. Hey, Eric, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what your research is?
Hi, I'm Ayber Kajar from Maple Lab. I'm a third-year PhD student. I'm mostly working on endoscopic computer vision and navigation technologies, especially for kidney, bladder, and central airway obstruction surgeries.
And what got you started in doing research?
I was really interested in making a change, and I thought the best way to do this is developing new technologies, and especially on the healthcare, we can see the impact directly. It creates a greater value than other areas, so that's why I got into healthcare research.
They actually have here an entire Da Vinci research kit, and they're working on that all the time. It's really cool seeing it, getting it to work, and sometimes they even invite us to play around with it, you know, and we get to sit right in there. Over here, we have some other robots. This is a startup company from one of the professors. The doctor actually works on this, Keith. He's actually in the other room, so let me go grab him and he can talk a little bit more about this. All right. In here, we have Dr. Keith Opstein. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little about your research?
Hi everyone, my name is Keith Opstein. I'm a gastroenterologist here at Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a practicing clinician, so we do endoscopy, and my focus in the research lab as part of Vise is looking at robots for exploration of the GI tract. And so one of our projects that we've been focusing on is a magnetic flexible endoscope for colonoscopy.
Here we have some robot arms with concentric tubes going underneath for a parallel robot. And on the side there are different bays. Some of them are occupied by other labs. Some of them are more general stuff. So one area is for our general electronics. Here is our rapid prototyping space. We have a couple of bamboo 3D printers, a big laser cutter, another Stratasys printer, some resin printers. Very general open use for anybody who needs to use them. So we use them fairly frequently. They're kind of always running at this point. Some people have different personal printers. We have a couple others in our lab. So it just gives options for anybody who needs to use something. All right, so I ate lunch. Now it's time to put my robot back together. It was in pieces because I just got finished with some experiments, had to fix some things up. Once it's back together, I'll talk to a little bit more about it. So the robot should be fired up right now. Should see what it sees, if everything's going well. No, because somebody took my capture card. There we go. Look at that. We see it here. We see it here in the simulation. And we also can see it right here. So the robot is something called the concentric tube continuum robot. And it's really just a bunch of small tubes. It's these little tiny things made out of a super elastic nickel titanium alloy. They're curved at the end, so you put them inside one another kind of like a telescope, and now the whole thing kind of moves in like a tentacle-like way. All this right here is the endoscope. The arms go through that, and then everything else in the back is purely for the actuation. So the user will stand here behind the robot, and they can control it with these little joysticks. There will be the simulated view and the endoscope view on the TV. So my robot is basically using the concentric tube arms to suture inside very small areas. So some surgeons come in, they'll get to use the robot, experience it a little bit, we'll kind of give each other feedback, see where we can go from there. We're trying to figure out the best ways to suture endoscopically. I have a couple hours blocked out now, so time to get back to work. All right, so Drew is free, so we're gonna go chat with him and see what he does. Hey, Drew.
Hey, Jesse.
Care to introduce yourself?
I'm Drew Stewart. I'm a program manager, and I specifically manage the project with the government agency ARPA-H that kind of like at home here at Vanderbilt, but involves a few other universities as well.
And what do you like about it?
I will say this, through the interview process and everything else, they made me feel very invited to the team because I am not a scientist. I have a communication background and a teaching background. The people and the invitational nature of who they are and like how generous they are with their time and expertise is what really made me want to be a part of things. But what kind of like keeps me a part of all of this is how much I get to learn, how cool the science is. Occasionally when I get asked to play with a robot, that's always a very fun thing, and the people and the work is growing all the time. Even if it's a little bit, it's always growing, and so that's exciting to be a part of.
Awesome, thank you, Drew. We'll let you get back to your spreadsheets.
Later, Gator.
I can't show too much about what's going on, but basically they're using their robot with some electrocautery to try and ablate stuff inside of a colon. It's really, really cool. We get experiments like this somewhat regularly, but it's really cool seeing everything get to integrate together after these guys have been working for a few months trying to get this up and running. So it's a pretty good feeling. So it's a little past 5 right now. My day is done. It was a pretty good one. Got some good work in, got some good discussions, got some good planning. And this is really what a day in the life of a fourth year PhD student looks like. Thank you all for joining me.